Hello, my friends. Today is March 5th, year year number 1, year 2021, whatever you want to call it. This is Uncle Mike, and we are in for our weekly video. This is designed for my subscribe stars. Thank you very much. I had a couple of new ones this week. But, as I indicated in the past videos, that I will include a portion of this for all of the folks still watching on YouTube. There is no free lunch, so it's going to come with the first couple of minutes I'm going to go and hawk my wares and get on my soapbox, but after that, then we're going to get into a really, really rich presentation about astrology and kind of like deconstructing it, looking at it, both objective astrology and subjective astrology. This should be of good interest to both people who see a value and practice astrology or know a thing or two about it, and then for the folks that are like, astrology doesn't interest me, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to talk to you about maybe why it should. Why, what you can get out of it from an objective reason, and the folks that do follow astrology, I'm going to talk a little bit about its, the problems with astrology, and this is coming from someone who I guess you could say even practices it professionally. So where to begin? So we're going to begin this, we're going to start talking about some of the stuff from last week. I talked about money. I think I talked about money on the Ross Ben video, which I just put out last week, and I also talked about, I think, 2 videos ago. And so, and then I also said, hey, so I go and I'm like, money's, I go, blockchain and cryptocurrency is the sign of, or it's indicated in its naming subconsciousness that this is the new slave master, and saying all this stuff about money and the nature of the energy behind the debt-based currency and so forth. And then I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, you guys need to send me some money. And some folks called out the hypocrisy on that. And, from a point yeah, I get it. But it's not about hypocrisy. We are all still in the system. And so if you are in the system and you still need to play its game, well then, there's no shame in having to play a game which you are forced to play upon. The purpose of pointing out all of this stuff about money and what money's about is to bring awareness, to bring consciousness as to what it is we are working with, so that you can handle it with a much higher degree of understanding. So, with that said, because somebody even asked me, oh, are you saying that we shouldn't do cryptocurrency? I'm like, if you want to do cryptocurrency, do cryptocurrency. Just know what just know what it is. Don't buy into, and what I talked about in the video more so is about blockchain technology. But I just want to clarify what all of that is. And so let's talk a little bit more about the game of money. And in fact, it's currency is what we're talking about. So money's got lots and lots of different definitions. It's a means for exchange. It's a storage of wealth. A couple other typical standard economics types of definition of money. But what we're talking about when we're talking about fake money, when we're talking about money which has no intrinsic value, money that is you're forced to have to use it, that's currency. That's currency. And let me explain what the difference. And we know it's called currency, and like that's part of like the naming ritual. Like they call it currency. They're tapping it into the natural movement of water, what we call current. And I've been working a lot about this on another video, which I'm very, very excited to share with people, all about the nature of the force that moves water. But that's why currency is called that. And so what is a current? A current is constant motion, constant motion, constant motion. A current is also used in the distribution of electricity. Again, that's another falsity. I mean, it's real in the fact that it's real, but it's an inversion of something which is true. We live in an electronic or an electric sort of environment. But the use of our like manufactured electricity by creating these electromagnetic fields through coiled copper and magnets, and then sending it to your house, that's inversion crap. So anyway, currency and money. So this is how the game works. The game with currency, there's only one way to play it. And it's cash flow. It's the current. It has to move. It has to move. It has to move. Currency as a storage of wealth. So that means like, oh, I'm gonna go and stockpile all of this money, all of these dollar bills, these Federal Reserve notes, or whatever it's going to be in the future, and then I'm going to be able to go and then go and become wealthy. And no, I mean, maybe there were times that was the case, but the system would just set it up so that could be the case. And so the reason being is, what we call inflation. So inflation happens because they put more money in the money supply, and the number of things which you can buy stays the same. So you got like more dollars which you're chasing after the things which you can buy, and so prices go up. That's called inflation. The system is meant that way to create inflation. So the idea of holding money, like storing, of holding currency, as a way to accumulate wealth, is just like it's a loser's game. It's a game which you will lose if you try to play. There are times where you can maybe save. There are no interest rates right now, but there's once upon a time, I suppose, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, where it isn't as extreme as times of inflation and times of hyperinflation. We in the United States have not really experienced the hyperinflation yet, but that's, seemingly coming. Who knows? And then the same thing is true with with digital currencies. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But one of the ideas, it's very, very evident that the entire technological system, which is being created for people to live in, is all about control. And the money is going to be digital. And what makes the most amount of sense is if the controllers are doing all this to control, they're probably gonna, they're gonna give you your free money, they're gonna give you their made up currency, and whether they call it universal basic income or what have you. And then it's going to have an expiration date. You get 30 days to use it, and then after 30 days it goes away, and then you get more. And the reason why is so that you cannot go and create any type of security. It doesn't mean you can't create security. It means that if you play the system's game is meant that you can't create security, or at least financial security, that way. This is how it's always been. I mean, when the Rockefellers, this is going back, I guess it's the 1800s. They used to set up these coal mining towns out in West Virginia, and they'd get someone and be like, hey, we're going to go and I have a guaranteed job. Someone's living in one of the cities out on the east, New York or Philadelphia or whatever, and they'll be like, listen, you want a job? I can go and take you out to I'm going to bring you out to this coal town in West Virginia, and you're going to get paid so many dollars a week, and you're going to work this many hours a day, and blah blah blah. And the person's like, oh, that's fantastic. This is good money. I'm going to go and do this, and it's going to be fantastic. But that's a loser. That was a loser's game. What they did was they're like, well, you're going to have to go and pay for the train ride or the transportation out there, and that's going to be so many dollars. And so like immediately you go into it in debt, and you're in debt to them. They'll be like, but we're going to loan you the money. We're going to loan you the money. You're going to come and you're going to work for us, and we're going to give you a job, and we're going to set you up with a house, and like there's a store there to get food. All that stuff is taken care of. And so like folks would be like, yeah, let's go and do that. I'm going to go and do this, and I'll do this for like 2 years, 3 years. I'll save a little bit of money. I'll get on my feet, and then I'll come back and I'll do what I want to do. And so they go out there, and the whole thing was, it was owned by the company. It was owned by the Rockefellers. Like all the housing, all of the stores, everything was owned, and it was just like simple mathematics. Yeah, I'm going to pay you like whatever dollars it would cost, or whatever dollars a week I'm gonna pay you, and this is how much money you're going to get for which you're going to have to pay for housing, and then I also set the pricing for the foods and like the goods and services. And they constructed it in such a way that that you would never be able to get out. You would never, it's like, it appeared to be a good thing. It appeared to be a good thing, because it was a job with good money. And then like the people were stuck there, and then, they would start to riot, and then the Rockefellers would come out and they'd have their hired goons, and they would like shoot them down with guns, and, meet the new boss, same as the old boss, or even more so it's never gone away. So it's like, that's the same model. That's a system which is coming. They're probably going to give you free money, and they're going to be like, this is going to cover your cost of living and your basics, assuming that something else didn't get you and you're still breathing. But you can see that if you look at the history, like it's the same thing. It's happening right now. So that being said, let's not talk about the future, because we don't know what the future holds yet. In fact, we have so much opportunity for not that future right now. There's this changing of the guard, and when the changing the guard happens, is like, this is the greatest opportunity to escape. But how you keep everyone paralyzed is like, you scare them and you promise them, you just stay put and you do this and you do that, and like everything's going to be okay. And they're just doing that until they do the final shift and everything is in place. And once it's in place, like they're going to sweet talk you when you're like out in Philadelphia, but then like once you get on the train and you find yourself in Wheeling, West Virginia, or wherever they take you out there, that's when like, the gloves come off and you see exactly the situation which you're in. So where was I going with all this? So the currency, the situation, like all of this sort of like fake money, like the only thing you can really do with it is it's cash flow. It comes in and it goes out. And yes, like, save some money, to purchase things, save some money. So like, you're not like, caught without like in a difficult situation if like an expense comes up. I'm not giving any financial advice. I'm just telling you, like, I'm not saying like, when the money comes in, spend it all, but like it is a game of cash flow in the system. Cash flow is king. As long as it comes in and it goes out and it's moving, well, then it's good. In fact, that's what economists would define a healthy economy by, is the speed of money, how quickly money circulates. And the faster money is circulating, the healthier the economy. And that's not to say that is the objective definition of a healthy economy. That is the definition of a healthy economy in the type of financial system which we're in, these kind of like where they print the money and they print the money. This is another example I talked to when I was talking about like Ponzi schemes, like pyramid schemes. Like they work just because it's a cash flow game. It's a cash flow game. So it's like, if you're forced to have to play the game, you have to understand the strategy in which you are going to have to be successful. And we're in this game right now. We're in this friggin' game right now. And until we've got another game, like this is the game you got to play. So you do what you got to do, but just know what it is. The whole game is rigged. So it's like, well, what's real currency, or what's real wealth? Arguably, there's no such thing as that. There's no such thing as that. By name, they would tell you like real estate. Real estate is the real estate. But you know, and I know that you don't own land. Like, you might pay off your friggin' mortgage, but if you stop paying your taxes, they come and they take your land. So you don't own nothing. You just don't have to pay the bank. You just pay someone else. Um, Theoretically, things like, gold and silver, yeah, I guess, it has a cultural intrinsic value, and there's intrinsic value for it's like, it for other purposes. You can write on gold, I suppose, make gold tablets, and they last forever. It's really valuable to the Anunnaki. I don't know, but like, I mean, just from what we know from like our actual reality, like, gold and silver is just important because we all agree that gold and silver is important, and we know how incredibly manipulated those markets are. But it is an established store of wealth, I suppose, and they'd call it a hedge against inflation and stuff like that. Again, I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just talking about money for right now. Is there anything else I want to talk about money before I move on? I think there was one other thing. Nah, I don't know. So, okay. This is what I want to say about money. So this is it. This is, if you really want to understand, about like how it works. When I say it, like life on Earth. Um, you look at the natural processes. And this is where I wanted to go with it. And so it's like, well, how much wealth do you need? What do you need about wealth? The whole idea of wealth is matrix consciousness. Like, it makes a lot of sense in the matrix world, and the matrix is apparently, from appearance's sake, is the most real of the realities, but it's not. It's the most obvious, but it's the least real. But if you really want to understand what it means to be alive on, this thing which we call Earth, we just look at the natural processes. Look at the human body, look at other living life forms or animated life forms on Earth, and there's no storage of wealth. I mean, look at the human body. So like, let's look at like fat. Let's go look at like fat cells as the storage of wealth. You get to a point where it becomes a burden when having so much fat relative to muscle tissue it is disruptive to the physical form. The body does not work the way it should work, in all sorts of different ways. I'm a skinny guy, and so it's like, I've got the opposite problem. It's like, I need to I need to like eat in terms of like keeping on weight. So I recognize the importance of like why you need like a little bit of extra cushioning, like, and this is all an analogy as it relates to wealth. But the truth of the matter is, like, you just need like enough to keep you warm, but like not too much. Like, look at oxygen, look at water, these things which we take into our body. Like, how important is oxygen? Oxygen is so friggin' important. Go 4 minutes without it. You can go 4 minutes without oxygen if you train your body not to. But, for the typical person, like, you go 4 minutes without oxygen, you are dead. That's friggin' important. So how much extra oxygen are you keeping with you? None. I'm just breathing in as much as I need right now, and I'm breathing out as much as I need right now. That is the truth. You just need to keep it going. And that is the truth about like the fake financial system. It's currency. It's just movement. You drink water. How important is water for you? It's like, yeah, you go 3 days, 4 days without water, you're dead. So like, are you packing in the water? No, you go in, you drink your water when you're thirsty. And then like when your body's like, it's time to go. So, that's the way I see money. And now I'm going to talk to you about money right now. So as I indicated last, particularly for those of you who saw the subscribe star portion of the video, I get a little bit more personal. That's one of the benefits, I suppose, of the video of being in the subscribe star. And it's like I found myself in a very sudden and difficult financial situation. So I got to cut to the chase. I need your support. If you see value in this, and I'm assuming like if you watch more than like 5 or 10 minutes, you're seeing value. And this value, what I'm sharing with you, I'm sharing the information which I share with you, particularly like, the dot connecting and like the presentations. Like when I give a presentation and when I show you like, this and that is connected to this and that, and those are in a certain way, like those are parlor tricks. They're parlor tricks. It's fun and games. It's fun. It's exciting to go along on that ride. That's not why I do this. That is not why I do this at all. The reason why I do that is a demonstration. It's a demonstration of consciousness. It's a demonstration of the way which the reality works in order to free you from it. For whatever reason, this is Mike's job on Earth. Mike's job on Earth is to be able to go and share this information. And if you're watching this, this is information for you to then assimilate within your own understanding of reality. I'm just explaining my understanding of reality, not to say that this is what yours should be, but it is to add to your own understanding. That's true for all of us. This is what we do. So this is what I do here. And if you have value, if you see value in this, like now's the time. I need the support. So I talked about my subscribe star page last time. A handful of people came over. Thank you very much. That's very, very important. Important to me. But I want to see more. I got to see more. I'd like to see 50 people, about 1,000 people watch these videos. Maybe it's the same 1,000 people, 2,000 people. $5 a month is the smallest amount. That is an indication, or that is, in my opinion, that is a fair exchange in terms of what I am sharing with you. Now, to let you know that this is not about the money. This is not about the friggin' money. This is about playing the game of life and reality. And I'm going to have to, and I need some cash flow right now. If this is information which you find valuable and you are unable to receive, or like $5 is so tight right now, you cannot do that. And trust me, I get it. Hit me up with an email. You send an email to michael@susquehannaalchemy.com. He was like, Uncle Mike, I dig your work. This is of value to me, but I can't do anything. And I'm going to keep your email on a list. And I'm going to send my I'm not going to send my goons to get you. What I'm going to do is like, particularly when the information, when I have less and less time to do these videos on which I'm sharing with YouTube, like I'm going to go and send you a link so you can see the content for free. I want this information out there, but it's got to be an exchange. And any of you folks who are like, and they're out there, who see it otherwise, that's on you. I'm sorry. So I'd like to see that. And here's the other thing, because 50 people, $5 a month, that ain't going to do much, but that's going to continue to build. What I do need for now is I need 10 of you. I need 10 of you right now to order a biomancy session. I need 10 of you to order a biomancy session right now. You go to my website, you go to susquehannaalchemy.com, you order a biomancy session. If you are watching this and you've received a biomancy session from me in the past, write in the comments, say this is what I thought about it. In my opinion, it is immensely valuable. The value that I bring, particularly to allow, to focus my awareness and my storytelling and my pattern recognition on your story for the purpose of you understanding yourself from a different perspective, to free yourself from the unconscious chains which you have placed upon yourself. That's very valuable. I don't want a single handout from a single person. I am an able-bodied human being. Like, I give handouts all the friggin' time. When I see people, I don't care if they're down on the luck from their own poor choices or what have you. It's like, this is a sick society. It's going to chew us up and spit us out. And it's like, if I see someone down who's unable to take care of themselves, and if I can help them out, I will. But I'm not asking for that right now. I'm saying right now, you go and you order these services from me. I need it. So, that's what you're gonna get for these free video portions on YouTube. So I laugh at myself for even doing this. I feel like doing an infomercial. This is true. When I was growing up, I mean, this is in the 80s, I used to friggin' love infomercials. I would watch infomercials, and my parents would think I was nuts. They're like, "Do you really like what you're watching?" I'm like, "No, I just can't believe like like how they sell it." I think they designed it that way. We love to watch the infomercials, so I feel like I'm doing one right now. But anyway, so I want to go move on to the real nuts and bolts of what I want to talk about today, which is astrology. And I'm going to begin by talking about objective astrology versus subjective astrology. And I'm going to talk about its importance and what it is. And I'm also going to I'm going to poke holes. I'm going to poke holes in astrology. And I'm going to tell you why astrology is as can be, how it can be how it can enslave you just like anything else. So where to begin? How to say this? So astrology is our birthright. It is our birthright as human beings on Earth. And I mean that is, if you can stand up and if you can look at the stars, or you could look at the heavens, and you are able to identify, you don't have to be an expert, but you can identify the friggin' moon. You can identify there's this thing we call the sun. Probably can identify, like, if someone once you find out where to look or how to look, where Mercury is, and you can see Venus at times. You can see Mars. You can see Jupiter and Saturn. You can see all of those bodies with your eyes without any sort of aid, and you can look out and see them. And the human experience, the very definition of the human experience is it's a friggin' mystery. How do we get here? Where is here? What are we supposed to do? And that mystery is like, it's not to be solved. It's meant to be experienced and embraced. And so it is our birthright to look out, and we look up at these heavens. We look up at the heavens, and we see these things. And what the Greeks they would call, the sun and the moon are different. The sun and the moon are different. And we want to question everything, and particularly for people who subscribe to like alternative theories as to the makeup of Earth and the solar system. It's like I'm using like the traditional one, not because I'm saying it's right. I'm just saying it's the best one which we got, and I don't have a working model. What I do know is that every model works, and as you change your model, the absolute truth will fit the new model. And what I mean by that is, like, speaking English is not the absolute truth in terms of communication for human beings. Like, you could speak French, you could speak Russian, you could speak Swahili. They're languages, and all of those languages are able to articulate something in that particular language. And what they're trying to articulate, like, that would be a truth. But like the language itself is just the mechanism in order to do that. So I'm using a standard understanding of our solar system, not to say that the way I'm explaining it is exactly how it is, because I certainly question everything which has been taught to us. But what I do know is I can see a friggin' moon, and I can see a friggin' sun, and I can see these dots that look like stars. Who knows what a star is? Who knows what a planet is? We're gonna go back and say, like, okay, it's a planet, it's a star, it's whatever. the dots that look like stars, that's what the planets look like in the heavens. Like they're moving in a different way than the heavens, so we know that they're different, and we go and we look at them, and it's our birthright to say, like, what the fuck, what am I doing here? What does this mean? Give me some insight as I have this experience. And that is your friggin' birthright. That is your friggin' birthright. And you're foolish not to embrace it. All right, so let me go into objective reality, or objective astrology versus subjective astrology. So the most significant experience you have in human form, and this is universally true, there is not a single friggin' human being who has not been through this experience. Because if you haven't been through this experience, you're not a human being. You may still be a being, but you're a different type of being. But you lived in another human, and then you lived outside of another human. That's it. That's the thing. You were born. Maybe you were C-section, maybe whatever. But you went from living inside of a new other human being to no longer living inside of another human being. And that is the most objective major transition you take in your entire life in your human skin suit. You could say all sorts of other things like this was crazy, or that was crazy, or I did this, or I had my own children. I'm like, yeah, but nothing is objectively as universal and as objectively significant, because some people don't find your experiences as significant as maybe you do. And so you may even say, like, well, what about death, Uncle Mike? What about death? Well, I'll tell you about death. Death is significant to wherever the hell you go once you die. It's really important there. So anyway, time does not matter. Timing matters. Timing matters. All right. When you have your most significant movement in your human suit when you're born, and we're trying to go and look at, we're trying to understand this experience in which we are having as human beings on this mysterious earth. We look for meaning. We look for meaning to understand, for a point of reference. And the greatest thing we can do is look at the largest thing we can comprehend with our actual senses, And that, my friends, is the heavens. And that is the heavens. And the heavens are in constant motion. The dots that we call planets are in constant movement, some moving faster than others. The sun and the moon are always in movement. They're always in movement. This is the never-ending story, this movement. And when you have this most significant movement in your human form, when you are born, the timing of what the heavens are. We don't know where we are. We don't know how we got here. We don't know nothing. But we do know at the exact moment that you took your first breath outside of another human being, this is what the system which we are living within, this is what it looked like. This is the time date stamp. From astrology, that is called the placement, the specific location. This is known as your natal chart. This is your natal chart. And understanding your natal chart without interpreting it, without having to go and be like, well, my sun's in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius means this, and my Mercury's right here, and and this means this and that. Like, before any of that, we're getting to the objective astrology. The objective astrology is first the knowing of what your unique time date stamp with the known macrocosm. That's what I'll call the solar system. It is the known, the only thing you can know of the macrocosm. Anything greater than that, what you can see with your senses. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying it's an abstract. It's an abstract, and there's a place for abstracts. But once you get beyond those seven planets, it's like then it's all abstract. It's all NASA pictures. It's all whatever. It may be true. It may not be true. In fact, just believing it makes it true. That's the nature of our reality and consciousness. But this is the demarcation. This is as big as you can go before it becomes an abstract, before it goes into the realm of fantasy. And as fantasy might not be the right word because maybe it's accurate, but it goes into the realm of non-tangible. Maybe that's a better way of describing it. So what we wanted, what matters in objective astrology is how the planets are related to one another, how they're related, where they are positioned to one another, because that is objectively true. Like, if one planet is literally opposing another planet, so that would be the full moon. The full moon is when the moon is opposing the sun. Like they're like as we would understand it from a looking at a what they tell us the map looks like of our space. It's like the moon is here and the sun is here and Earth is right in the middle, and that gives us this full moon. Like, I don't quite understand how that happens, but nonetheless. The fact that it's full is like, that's the objective reality. And we have like different sort of relationships. I'm gonna pull up a chart to go and point that out. But that's what you want to know. You don't necessarily need to know what any of this means in terms of like greater detail to have the benefit of objective astrology, to gain from it, to understand it. I'm going to pull this up right now. Let's go right here. So this right here, what we're seeing here is, this is what they would call your natal chart. And this is an actual map. This is an actual map of what the heavens looked like when for me, this is my natal chart, when I was born. It's my time date stamp. There is value. There is immense value to gazing at this. There is immense value to gazing at this with an open consciousness, without necessarily saying what this means, but a knowing that this is your unique connection with this experience which we are finding ourselves within. And there is something deeply, deeply satisfying to a part which is deeper than your conscious awareness, because it is reassuring that says, hey, this is where I belong. This is my unique connection. This is what I share with that which I am finding myself within. Okay? So let me explain this map to you, though. It tells you stuff. It tells you real stuff right here. You see this AC? You see this black corner right here, or this black triangle right here, and you see this black triangle right here? This right here, this represents, like, right here is Earth. This is Earth right here. All of these, what we're seeing as the signs, what it is it's creating a map of our viewpoint of looking at the stars. So look at this right here. This is supposed to be Earth. This is Earth right here. This is how they tell us it works. You got the sun right here, and the Earth goes around the sun. That's what they're telling us happens. And then we've got all of these. You see these? They're calling them constellations. And these are the stars. And these stars remain in these positions relative to each other. They don't change. They don't change at all. And this is like, this is a friggin' game. This is a game. So let me go and explain this to you. Let me go and show you this for a moment. You see this? They're showing, this is these four stars. They make up Libra. But these stars right here, see, this is like how they are relative to each other. This is Earth, and then it looks like, it goes from Earth. If you're looking out at the sky, like the stars move across your view, looking up from here to here, and then what's down here, which you can't see, will come up, and then you can go and look at those stars, and they all remain relative to each other. And then these stars, which you identify as Virgo, Virgo, they go by, and then the Libra stars go by, and then the Scorpio stars go by. Like, this is like, this is the objective reality, and the fact that you can see this with your eyes if you know what you're looking for. And then they're showing us these groupings. These groupings aren't groupings. Like, I mean, they're groupings, but they're not objectively true like this. Like, someone, somehow, what have you, like, these 4 are Libra, and like these 4 are not connected to those 4. So that's what I mean. Like, it's a game. It's not like objectively true. Like, it's true to an extent. Like, in the fact that we all agree that is Libra. But like, you know what? Why is that star not connected with those 3 and these stars here? Like, and there are other stars as well. So, but nonetheless, these stars are here. And what happened is this loop, which is known as the ecliptic. And this ecliptic, this loop, all of the planets go along these lines that doesn't go up and higher. All of our planets move here, so they're always moving across these stars. And so you are able to see that these planets, these wanderers, that where they are moving relative to this fixed backdrop of stars this is moving. So now back to this. And so what happened was they divided this up into this 12 section. You can see this right here. These are the 12 sections. And they're calling it a circle. And they divide it into 12 different pieces. All right. So I'm going to go switch. I'm right at 40 minutes. Sorry, YouTube folks. This is when I do my cutoff. 50 of you, I would love to see you come on over. 10 of you, I would love to see you order a biomancy session. Regardless, I'm going to do the same thing next week. I'll be here. I've got some other material coming out. Like, I hope you like the Ross Ben stuff. I've got some more stuff with Howdy scheduled up. All of that's going to be right on YouTube, all that sort of stuff. Hope you're doing well. Till next time, this is Uncle Mike.